Good morning, everybody. We're at the top of the hour and ready to begin. My name is Karen Berger, and I want to welcome you to CASAS National News and Updates webinar. Today is October 20th, and we have a nice lineup of presentations prepared for you today. Our presenters include Linda Taylor from CASAS, our Vice President of Assessment Development. We also have a number of CASAS staff members contributing, and they will be introduced as they present. We are delighted to welcome our colleagues from Acalanes Adult Education, Steve France, Michelle Hernandez, and Eric Danowitz. They will be sharing some tips about reinventing and reimagining your adult education program. Thank you so much for joining, and we're looking forward to what you have to share. So this slide shows a few of the features of this Zoom webinar. The first point is that your microphones are muted due to the large numbers. The best way to communicate with us with questions about the presentation is through the Q&A. We have a great team of people available to answer your questions, and any questions that are not answered during the webinar will be added to our FAQs on the website. The chat box is only to be used for technical difficulties with using Zoom. If you would like copies of today's presentation and resources to download, we will put those links in the chat. This little graphic shows your Zoom toolbar and controls that should appear at the bottom of your screen. Of particular interest is way to the right, the small green bubble that points to a new feature, live transcript. If you click on this button and then click on show subtitles, you will enable closed captioning, which will appear at the bottom of your screen. The larger green bubble highlights the Q&A, which we already mentioned. This is where you can post your questions about the presentations. Then at the far left, there's a button where you can check your audio settings. The next button is to bring up the chat box, which, as I mentioned, should only be used if you have technical difficulties using Zoom. We are not using the raise hand feature today due to the large numbers in attendance. So we get a closer look at the Q&A here. When you click on it, you will notice at the top that you can click back and forth to see your own answers and questions and to see other people's questions and answers. We will be recording this webinar and it will be posted early tomorrow. You can go to casas.org to view today's and previous webinars on the CASAS News and Updates page. Now I'll hand the meeting over to Linda.
Thank you, Karen, and welcome everyone. We're so excited about today's session. We will be having an update on test development and remote testing. We're going to talk to you about field testing and encourage you to help us with that. We have this exciting guest presenter presentation, which I'm sure you're going to enjoy. And after that, we're going to delve into some aspects of CASAS e-tests and TOPSpro Enterprise, including the difference between the basic and the enhanced versions of TOPSpro, and also get into something called special programs, a feature we thought you might not be aware of and might like to know about. A little bit of a training update and some news. So let's get started. First, on test development and remote testing. With remote testing, we are now looking into exploring the idea of providing a third-party proctoring service. So that is something new that we're looking into, and I just wanted to let you know about that. And we'll keep you posted with that in our monthly webinars. We have been working with some pilot agencies to try remote testing with more than 5 students, which is currently what's formally allowed. And some programs have gotten quite good at remote testing and feel comfortable, some of their proctors, to do more than 5. But if you're just getting started with remote testing, you wouldn't want to go beyond that 5. But if you'd like to consider doing more, please contact us and see if you can be part of this pilot. Another pilot that is ongoing, and we do mention every month, but want to just see if anyone out there would like to join trying out remote testing on phones, because we still need some additional data with listening and math in particular, especially at the lower and the higher levels. So if you'd like to join in with that, we are still open to having new agencies join in. And finally, we are working on within eTests and available for mobile delivery eventually, the integration of video conferencing so that at some point you wouldn't have to use Zoom or another app, but it would be built right into our software. So just an idea of what's coming up ahead. Here, I just want to go over just to make it clear what is currently approved in terms of our CASAS assessments for ESL to begin with. We have our Life and Work Reading 80 series, Beginning Literacy Form 27 and 28, which is currently, just to be clear, only allowable nowadays for NRS reporting for ESL and not anymore for ABE. The Reading for Language Arts series, if you're not familiar with, and if your state allows it, it's something to look into. It's a bit more academic and could be used for NRS reporting for ESL. We have the 980 series of Life and Work Listening, and all of these, like all of the other CASAS, non-CASAS tests, are approved through February of 2023. For ABE and ASE, we have our Reading Goals series through 2025. We are currently working on the new series that will come after that. And as far as math is concerned, our math goals is approved through 2023. And we're also working on a new series for math. For ESL, the future is that we will have a new reading and listening version for ESL. We're currently field testing the final forms for that and plan to submit that next October 1st for NRS approval. So now I'm going to pass it over to Karen, and she's going to tell you exactly how you can help us with field testing.
Thank you, Linda. This first slide is about the demographics needed for the embedded field test items that are found in CASAS e-tests. These items are not scored, and they help us build our item bank for ongoing test development. Since many agencies do not collect demographics in CASAS e-tests, they need to enable these critical demographics so we can use the embedded items in our test development and research. So you can help us by following a few simple steps. We have a short video that shows the steps to enable these demographic fields, and we'll put a link in the chat. Next slide. Benefits of field testing. Students, teachers, and agencies all benefit from participating in field testing. This is nationwide research, and your participation ensures that your students will be represented as we develop these new assessments. Students can build test-taking confidence through field testing, and many programs use field tests as a way to diminish test anxiety by providing them practice before an upcoming post-test. Your teachers and staff will benefit by getting an early look at the new assessments, and your program's contributions to this important research helps us continually improve and update valid and reliable tests for everyone. Many of you may already be aware of our current field testing studies. We have math for ABE and reading and listening for ESL. Our need for field testers has become quite urgent. We need thousands of students, and we have developed new items to expand our math goal series. The expanded series will have 5 levels of math, A through E, and we need to get these math items field tested by the end of November or possibly December so we can create the final forms for additional math field testing during the spring of 2022. We are also field testing final forms for our new ESL series in listening and reading. These new tests are aligned with the English language proficiency standards for adult education and the NRS descriptors for English language learners. The tests have 5 CASAS levels, and once approved, these tests will replace the current Life and Work series. Students receive a $5 gift card for each field test they complete, and participating agencies receive complimentary web test units for each modality. That is listening, reading, or math. And the more modalities you field test, the more complimentary web test units you receive. There are also a couple special studies for which students can earn a bonus gift cards, and all field testing must be completed by June of 2022, so we can prepare for our NRS submission in the fall of 2022. We have a special need right now in our ESL studies for paper testers. The e-testers are coming on board, and we're seeing some good movement in there, but these tests are also available in paper and pencil, and we will ship you the test free of charge and provide you with the return mailing labels. There's no need to scan anything. The students, you administer the test according to our directions and then return everything in the box that we provide for you. So we hope you'll consider that. So if you think you'd like to participate, you may wonder how many learners you can test. And as I said, we need thousands, so there is no minimum, and you can test as many as you wish. Your participation is a vital part of test development. We use the data that we gather from the field test to make sure the system assessments are valid and reliable for all adult learners. I want to thank you so much to everyone who's already expressed interest and has begun field testing. We hope that as the rest of you are getting back into the rhythm of regular testing, you might consider partnering with us as well. Even if you're unable to participate at the moment, we'll hope you think about it in the upcoming months. You can access field testing opportunities webpage from the CASAS homepage. Lots of great info there, and you can also contact me directly if you just email fieldtesting@casas.org. Thank you all in advance. We so appreciate your support. Linda?
Yes. So now I have the great honor and privilege to introduce the Promising Practice presentation for this month. It is called Reinventing and Reimagining Your Adult Education Program. I think you're going to find some very interesting ideas here about innovations that you can implement into your program. We have Stephen France, who's the director of Del Valle Education Center from Acalanes Adult Ed, Michelle Hernandez, who's the registrar, and Eric Danowitz, the technology assistant. So they have prepared a very snazzy presentation, and after that, they will be available live for some time to answer any questions you have, and then after that, they'll be available to answer questions on the Q&A. So let's hear what they have to say.
Welcome to the Del Valle Education Center, home of Acalanes Adult Education, located 25 miles east of San Francisco. My name is Stephen France, and I am the director, and allow me to introduce you to our registrar, Michelle Hernandez. Thank you for allowing us to share with you our journey towards program enhancement and an improved experience for our staff and over 1,900 duplicated enrollment guests, of which 241 guests are enrolled in our English language learner program and 16 in our adult secondary ed program. Our goal is to deinstitutionalize our setting and provide a more welcoming, engaging, and personal experience. Rather than referring to our clients as students, we're evolving to referring to them as our guests at our program. Before we begin our deeper dive into how Acalanes Adult Education has reimagined our program for our guests and staff, allow me to begin with an overview of our guiding principles, which have led us towards our growth and more engaging experience for our guests and staff. First, building a sense of community and belonging, defined by trust and respect. To accomplish this, it starts with the administrator's vision for the agency and our program, and disseminating that out to staff and guests. Additionally, structure orientation to outline the sense and purpose of the agency or program. Finally, get to know guests and their why for attending this program. Second, staff play pivotal roles in the building and improvement upon an agency's growth and success. This is accomplished through engaging staff in conversations about and the development of the vision for the agency program. Staff participating in the orientation sessions to gain a deeper understanding of the process guests will experience. Training must be part of the fabric. Additionally, no idea is a bad idea. Try out suggestions, as they may be opportunities for enhancements and program growth. If an idea is not successful, rather than dwell upon how it failed, focus on what was learned and gained. Third, use of data to drive program improvements and changes to support the needs of guests attending the agency programs. Former Yugoslav and Serbian professional football player Bojan Krikic said, "It is important to find a place where you feel trust, you feel belonging, and stability." Words spoken so truly about an adult education program and our guests who come through our doors seeking to further their language acquisition skills, advance their career and/or college aspirations, and so much more. At Acalanes Adult Education, we enhanced our orientation experience for our guests, building that trust, sense of belonging, and stability at a time needed now more than ever. Next, so we may refer to our guests by name at orientation, each guest was provided with a name tag, which included all of the information needed to begin their journey throughout the orientation and testing sessions. Our next evolution was transforming the orientation from a classroom setting to our theater. This allowed our guests to experience comfort in a more warm environment as they engaged in our introductory presentation. As our guests entered the theater and found a seat, we engaged them in an interactive activity, asking them to tell us why they were here. Using the web-based program Slido, guests could text their reason why they were here, which then developed a word cloud for them to see and develop live in front of their eyes as they awaited the beginning of the presentation. This opener activity allowed staff to hear directly from guests rather than base it upon assumptions. Finally, our orientation presentation provided guests with insight as to the why for pre-testing, benefits of taking our classes, an introduction to the staff here to serve our guests, and so much more. In order to enhance our programs at Acalanes Adult Education, I examined what it was we were doing, where I wanted us headed, and what was needed for us to reach that goal. In the words of Walt Disney, the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. Doing is exactly what occurred. Knowing the future of the program was leading us towards further implementation of technology tools, both in the classroom for our teachers and accessibility materials for our guests. I worked with our district leadership and budgeted to pay 50% of the salary for our technology assistant. This investment, though larger in scale from a fiscal standpoint, outweighed not committing to this need. In order for our program to move in the direction of less paper and more online tools required a technology specialist to support our growth and be available for our staff and guests who call upon for support with these advancements. I will share more on the importance of this role as I explain additional technology enhancements a little bit later. Sharing the vision of the program with staff was another doing step necessary. Though some staff have been hesitant to move away from physical paper textbooks, materials, and supplies to online and technology-related items, through discussions on how these items would improve their experience with instructional delivery and make their jobs easier, we eventually got to a place where staff have become comfortable with these enhancements. Initially, the move towards online tools was to reduce our usage of paper. But with the pandemic, we had to rethink our delivery methods and provide our guests with the same instructional materials. Throughout the pandemic, I constantly reflected upon the words of author Roy T. Bennett. Instead of worrying about what you cannot control, shift your energy to what you can create. Creativity is exactly where the entire staff at Acalanes Adult Education landed. From the day we shut down, the next day, we transformed our instruction to online via Zoom and invested in Canvas as our learning management system. Through Canvas, our technology assistant and I developed Canvas courses for our staff, which included how-to lessons on the various online tools we provided to staff. From Canvas to Zoom to online textbooks and materials, to using the webcams we provided our staff as many short and easy to follow lessons as possible. We even held online professional development training focused on one instructional tool at a time to help ease their minds and teach them how to use everything at their disposal. Our English language learner department worked with textbook companies on implementing online tools, such as textbooks and workbooks, which then would seamlessly integrate with Canvas, thus providing as fluid an instructional program for our guests as possible, with the intent of replicating what once was offered in person to the Zoom environment. For guests who were unable to access their courses due to Wi-Fi accessibility, we provided assistance through county supports. If guests did not have devices, we provided them with a device. For our current term, we're offering both in-person and online courses. Each classroom is now equipped with a multi-array microphone, along with 2 webcams strategically placed in the classroom, and also are providing 2 iPads per classroom for teachers to use. One iPad is designated to serve as the instructional iPad to work with the program Doceri, while the second iPad serves as the Zoom iPad, thus providing 2 additional camera options. Throughout our closure, with the support of our technology assistant, Acalanes Adult Education equipped each classroom with a Wi-Fi array to provide a more robust access for our guests and staff. Wi-Fi is available for our guests and staff, and we display QR codes in each classroom for guests and staff to point their device camera towards, which instantly logs them onto our Wi-Fi throughout the campus. We're also exploring extending Wi-Fi into our parking lots. We're currently in the process of rolling out technology-specific professional development lessons each month for staff to attend to learn about, practice, and utilize these items further within their instructional program. Our goal is to offer all classes at Acalanes Adult Education in a hybrid model by winter 2022. I am a firm believer in giving our staff and guests every tool available, allowing them to explore the possibilities and enhance the overall experience. A requirement established is that all teachers are certified for proctoring e-tests. In addition to their certification, all teachers are required to attend at least one orientation and assist with e-testing so they are aware and engaged in the process. This also allows for guests to further interact with not just our office staff, but teachers as well. Upon our school closure due to COVID-19, we learned of the ability to conduct e-testing and remote testing. Our team jumped into action and attended CASAS training on both forms of testing and rolled out e-testing August 2020, bringing in small groups of not more than 10 guests in an outside venue to take their pre-test on Chromebooks. We could not have accomplished this task without the help from our funded technology assistant, who placed our Chromebooks in kiosk mode and registered all devices. During our in-person e-testing in August 2021, we now e-test up to 26 guests maximum at a time. For post-testing, given guests' inability to come to campus in November 2020 due to COVID, we then rolled out remote testing. We began with just 5 guests remote testing, and now Through our experience, we are able to remote test a maximum of 12 guests with 3 proctors. Given our limited time, we are more than willing to discuss and share experiences and strategies with agencies offline on how to roll out both e-testing and remote testing. In the words of German-American economist and professor at the Harvard Business School, Theodore Levitt, creativity is thinking up new things. Innovation is doing new things. At Acalanes Adult Education, staff are always exploring new ways of providing the best educational experience for our guests. As new ideas and offerings come to light, I work closely with not just our school staff, but our district level staff to state our program needs, funding sources, and data to support the need for these new ideas. It is important to schedule regular meetings with the business office to discuss the overall budget of Acalanes Adult Education and the various funding sources, including Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, California Adult Education Program CAPE funding, and fee-based monies. I also meet regularly with the Associate Superintendent, who happens to be my supervisor, and discuss our program and growth potentials, in addition to presenting to our governing board and provide an overview of the program and all we have to offer, including our innovation of where we are headed. Through all of this, my motto is, there is nothing I will not try. As Theodore Roosevelt once said, believe you can, and you're halfway there. Finally, we're most proud of our newest role here at Acalanes Adult Education. We have hired a full-time transition specialist paid through funding of our CAPE and fee-based programs. This role is new to the program and has shown great success. Not only does our transition specialist assist with testing our guests, but also presents to guests at our orientation, outlining services available, and also meets with every guest, completing a needs assessment, which that data will be used to reinvent our program offerings and build a stronger experience for our guests. Thank you for allowing us to share our program with you, and feel free to contact us should you have any questions. There is so much to cover, and this is just a sampling of what we have to offer. The sky's the limit, and we have only just begun.
Thank you so much for this exciting presentation. And now we have, I'd like to invite Steve, Michelle, and Eric to be on live.
Here we are. Good morning, everyone.
Okay, there you are.
Or good afternoon for those of you not in California.
Yes, and Eric, we don't see Eric yet. All right, so Janice, are there any questions that came into the Q&A?
I think the ones that I'm looking forward to, Michelle and Steve, were to talk a little bit more about training your teachers. That was something I would like to hear more about.
So Michelle is new to the role as registrar. Just to give some insight, she began right the month before that we shut down in March. And it's through her working with our teachers and my support that we have required every single one of our teachers to go through the training through CASAS. There was not an opt-out option for any of the teachers to do that. Part of it is we need to capitalize on as many proctors that we possibly can have for our testing, but also that they have a more in-depth understanding of exactly what it is that is expected of the agency to report out to the state and the federal level, but also to have a deeper understanding of what it is that their students are going to be going through and experiencing, and so that each guest has some insight that their teachers are knowledgeable on. So we have made that expectation, had some pushback in the beginning, but I just push right back and make that a requirement. We do pay them their hourly rate. Not one of our staff is under a contract position through our negotiating unit. They are all are on an hourly rate, and so they have no problems with getting paid through that.
Great.
Go on spot. Did you get all that?
Yes, and then when they came to orientation, everything fell into place with hands-on and seeing how the devices and everything worked out perfectly fine to do e-testing with the students. So now we're getting ready for post-testing and we're so excited.
And we just devoted some more of our funding, and Eric just received it right before this presentation began, with more Chromebooks so that we can roll out more testing in the classrooms.
And we can't thank it enough to our technology department, along with the CASAS support. I see Laurel and Oscar here, who have been highly involved and have helped our agency throughout every step of the way. Thank you, Laurel. Thank you, Oscar.
Yeah. Could you talk a little bit more about training the teachers in this amazing array of technology that you're providing to do hybrid instruction?
Yes, so our teachers right now, I mentioned a few different programs that we're utilizing. Doceri is the one that we're rolling out for our in-person and our hybrid instruction as well. So Doceri is an app that goes on to the computer. We purchased one Doceri license per computer in each of our classrooms. And what I've done now is I've attached that training license to each of our teachers through our English language learner program. And now they are all going through the exact training from the Doceri program so that they can get deeper, in-depth training on how to use this program to enhance the experience for our guests in the classroom. Doceri is great because your iPad becomes your mobile virtual whiteboard. So the teachers no longer have to have their backs to the class, and they can also, like if I were presenting live right now on my presentation through Google Slides or PowerPoint or whatever your modality is for presentations, I can actually use Doceri and mark all over that so that as I'm instructing, and let's say I'm doing an English lesson and we're doing sentence structure, I can live go through the sentence structure, all the grammar, etc., and I can PDF that exact slide for that particular class, upload it, and then they will have access so that they can focus in on what's being taught versus having to write everything down. And then we post that on, they can now post that onto their Canvas website. So the teachers are going through that. I learned that 1 hour training on Doceri was not enough back in August. So we have given them through December to complete the training of Doceri. And then the expectation is that they will utilize that in their classrooms effective January for our winter term. Right now, we do have 3 teachers that are go-getters and ahead of the curve, and they are actually utilizing it in parts of their instruction in their classes right now, figuring out how to utilize it. I have some exhibits here. So what we've done is we purchased these little devices here, which were about $5, $10 on Amazon, to plug 6 different devices in, because the issue always is, where do we charge everything? Who's responsible for charging it? So the teachers are required to do it. We provide them with 2 iPads that are charged into this docking station. And now we're able to, because every classroom is equipped with with an Apple TV. The Apple TV remote that requires charging is also attached there. So we have a table in the front of the classroom where this docking station is, that all of their mobile devices, anything that needs to be charged, are located in that one central location. It's the expectation that the teachers are responsible for plugging it back in before their departure from the classroom and the next teacher arrives. Another device that we have put into place, which you may have seen in the video, is this little device here. It's mobile, and it serves as the forward-facing and reverse-facing for their additional usage of the second iPad that they have that can also do their camera. So when they're doing hybrid learning, this can be walked around with them. I have a larger iPad than we have in the classroom. so that the students, the guests at home can still see the teacher, they can see what's going on in the classroom, and they are still part of exactly what is happening without being present in the classroom at the time. Even though guidance in our county do not require social distancing due to COVID, the population that we primarily serve, which is an older adult population, are still concerned with safety. So we still maintain a 3 foot by 3 foot social distancing, which we have discovered these were necessary in order to capture all the students that are in person and online. Canvas, the training that we went through, we rolled it out the day that we shut down in March with our K-12 side of the house. We also purchased the Canvas license and the Zoom licenses, just threw it at them. It reminded me of my first day when I was teaching, beginning teaching some 25 years ago. And I was given the keys and said, here are your keys, here's your curriculum, good luck, we'll see you in June. That's sort of what we did with Canvas because we were all shut down. We couldn't bring any of the staff together. What we then did, Eric and I put together little 5-minute training videos on different portions of how to use Canvas, how to use Zoom, how to change and use different elements of Zoom, and rolled those out to the staff, but then also created a class in our Canvas for the teachers to constantly be able to refer back to throughout the course of the last school year into this current school year. The beauty of it is you do the video once and you don't have to re-record it or provide that training again. So as we hire new staff, we can just refer them to those lessons and they can catch up right where our professional development began and left off from previous. We also purchased pencil or crayons, which Eric, I think, has an example of that one in his office, so that they can use that as they're writing on dossier. Apple pencils are quite an expense. These crayons were much cheaper on Amazon and serve the same purpose.
Wow, these are great tips, Steve. Thank you so much. I wish you could carry on for the next hour, honestly, but we do have a few more things we want to cover. So I'm going to ask you and Michelle and Eric to please stay on and answer any questions in the Q&A. And just for everyone to know, we will have this recording will be on our website, and maybe Steve, you might want to share perhaps some additional resources of the things you've been mentioning that would help people access these technology tools that you've discovered. That would be so great.
Sure.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Excellent. All right. So now we're going to move on to our TOPSpro Enterprise Update. I'm going to hand it over to Janice Farah, our National Program and Technology Specialist, to take us through the next part.
Today's technical tip for data managers is something called special programs. We prepared a poll, we have a few slides, we have a demonstration recorded, but first I wanted to talk a little bit about the difference between TE Basic and TE Enhanced, because special programs is a feature that's available in TE Enhanced. So if I look at this slide and go through some of the features, you'll see that TE Basic is focused on student score management. It includes reports like the individual skills profile report, individual student competency performance. It also includes the personal score report, which you would give to students at the end of a CASAS e-test. It also includes information for your planning purposes, like what's the next assigned test, testing history, test administrations, and the ability to export data to a third-party data system. TE Basic and TE Enhanced both have the same underlying architecture, but it's a different set of programs and functionalities. So looking at this next slide, we have the list of the features of Enhanced TE Enterprise. And I think really the power that comes from this is the additional tracking that the agency is doing of the classes and the attendance. From this, you can show reports which show the students' persistence in the program. You can run a report called the class attendance analysis. Let's say you have 3 sessions of the same level ESL class, right? If you look at the class attendance analysis, you can see the percentages and find the trends of students that persist or drop out. And you can reduce the wait lists by finding places where you can slot more students in. You can identify high-performing teachers, or maybe preferred time slots. These are all things that agencies in California that are using TE Enhanced have told us about during our network meetings. And so I wanted to pass that along to you. Also, there's a report called Hours Since Last Test. Hours Since Last Test allows agencies to schedule their post tests more efficiently, so that you can look back and see which students are eligible instead of waiting like too long in the program and maybe they're already like leaving or there's issues coming up. So to sum it up, TE Enhanced gives you class and performance management capabilities. Okay, so hopefully that's clear. I'll look for some questions in the chat in a moment in the Q&A. But Karen, are you ready to start the poll, please?
Yes, I'm ready to go. So we'd like to learn a little bit more about you with a polling activity. When the poll window displays on your screen, you will answer the poll and then submit your answer. So on the next slide, this is what the poll will look like in the webinar. So the first thing you will do is answer your response directly on the screen. The next thing you do at the bottom is submit your answers, and then we will share the responses after we end the poll. After we review the results, you will want to close the poll window on your screen by clicking the X at the top right of the poll window. So I'm going to launch the first poll, and remember to click your answer and then hit submit. So here's the first poll question. That's great. We got a lot of answers coming in. It's going pretty fast. So that's really great participation there. Thank you so much, everyone, for answering. And it looks like we have a pretty even spread of the answers here. So keep on clicking your answers and hitting submit. We've really got some good participation here. About 75% of you already have answered. So we're going to go ahead and end this poll so we can keep moving. So we're going to end it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ending the poll, and now I am sharing the results. So you want to reflect on those, Janice?
I think what it shows is that there's interest and there's a little bit of wonderment about maybe this is for me. So let's go on to the second question, Karen.
All right, so we're going to launch poll number 2. Launching the poll. Again, we've got some really good participation here. Don't forget to click submit after you answer.
Karen, I think this is suggesting that we picked a good topic for this month's tips and tricks.
Absolutely. It would appear so. Thanks everyone for answering. I'm going to close the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ending the poll, and I will share the results. So, do you want to comment on those at all, Janice?
Just exactly what I was hinting at is I hope that the next few slides will be interesting to you and teach you something new that you haven't learned before.
Absolutely. So we have one final poll that we can launch here.
This question is pointing out to us that maybe at the next webinar, we should talk about ways to find documents on CASAS.org. There's a new index feature that's very helpful, and you can type in a keyword. So let's kind of remember that one for next month. Excellent.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Karen.
All right, I think we have a really good sense for what the majority has here. So I'm going to end in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I'll share the results. And again, looks like we have a good topic here because it's a good way for people to get familiar with it.
Thank you for
So-
these polls.
I'm sorry?
I said, thank you for these polls. I appreciate the background, knowing that we're headed in the right direction. Let's go back to
Okay,
the
so I
slide.
just want to remind everyone to, if your poll window is still showing up, you just want to click that X at the top right so you can see the full screen that we're presenting here.
I had to do that too. Thanks for that reminder. Well, many of you said that it's important to track special funding sources, and that's exactly what this feature in TOPSpro Enterprise Enhanced allows you to do. Some of the things are managing your data and accountability in terms of perhaps you have special outside grants and you need to do reporting on that funding source. Also, there are times where tracking students and clients, it could be an agency that referred them, and to be able to track that for other different kinds of reporting purposes. And generating custom reports is the third bullet point. We all know how to export data to Excel and then slice and dice that data using their powerful data visualization tools. So let's go to the next slide and talk through a couple of examples briefly. The first example talks about students coming from a special funding source. This could be a Job Corps, an agency, an employer-funded course, and there's information that needs to be tracked on this specific group of students. Another example would be students who were referred perhaps by a human welfare office, social services, maybe a parole office, and that somehow by attending classes at your agency, maybe their records can be expunged, or that showing attendance qualifies them for special financial assistance. So by grouping students together in TOPSpro Enterprise, you can more easily report their successes. Let's take a look at the standard choices that are present already for federal and state categories within TOPSpro Enterprise. I'm looking at it and it's a little bit squinty, I apologize, but going left to right, in California, we track things like ELL co-enrollment and EL civics, agencies that are tracking referrals from jails, community corrections, or state corrections. Those are check boxes that agencies make that associate a student to these default special programs. A lot of different choices there. Now, agencies told CASAS that they wanted to track special projects in addition to these, so we created that too. So here, if you look at the screen, on the right is a screenshot of TOPSpro Enterprise. Under the organization menu, there's a choice down there, which is called Special Programs. And it allows you to set it up in 3 quick steps. It's documented in the blue text there, step-by-step instructions. So you can refer to that if you want to get the full details of it. But the big picture is that first, you create a special program under Organization Special Programs. Next, you select students either individually or as a group and include them by checking that new box. And then finally, after your students are identified in that special program, you can collect statistics and generate reports. Next slide, please. People ask me, how do I find things in TOPSpro Enterprise? And the easiest way to do that is to use the TE Start page. I love this. It's easy to find things when you use this. You say View Start Page, and there's a screenshot there on your screen, and it shows on the far left a segment called How To. So if you look at the leftmost column, it says, if you want to find or edit, and you scroll down and you'll see where the yellow highlight is, Special Programs. And what you do is follow where the red arrow is pointing, which is the Student Records Lister. And you click on that, easy. It brings up the list of students. And then the next slide, please. Once you are in the lister that contains all the student records, you can filter to choose only the students in this custom program. Now, in the video that we're going to show, Dawn creates a program called PATH program, P-A-T-H. So in this example, you can scroll down under the special program entries category in the lister and select just that one to filter on. And it will segment the list of students so that they can be exported using a CSV comma separated file into Excel, or it could be saved as a PDF file. So that's kind of the overview of special programs. I think it would be helpful to watch Dawn's video, and then afterwards, if there's any questions, I'll be looking in the Q&A box and try to take those for you. Okay, thanks, Karen. You're up with the video.
To access the feature that allows you to add your own unique special programs, launch TOPSpro Enterprise. And from the menu bar at the top, click Organization and select Special Programs. To add a new special program to your account, click New from the toolbar at the top left. Enter a code for your special program, and then enter a special program name. Click the drop-down calendar to select the start date or back date to the start of the program year. You can also enter an end date or leave open-ended. Then from the toolbar at the top, click Save. Continue adding special programs as needed, and when finished, click the red X box to close the Special Program Record tab. This returns you to the list of special program records added to your account. Now you will need to disconnect and then reconnect to your account for the online system to update your account and apply your unique special programs to the default list of special programs already available in TOPSpro Enterprise. Now, let's disconnect. Click the TE icon at the top left, and then click Disconnect. Reconnect to your account. To see your special programs among the default set of special programs, I'm going to demonstrate how to add a special program record for an individual student. From the menu bar at the top, click Records, Students, and select Demographics. Filter for a student, and then double-click to open the Student Demographics record. From the Student's Record Navigator at the left, click Student Records. Click New from the toolbar at the top of the Student Records lister. Select the program year. Notice that the student field auto-populates when adding any record from the student's demographics record. Click the drop-down calendar and select the record date. Scroll down to the Special Program Entries table. Here you can see that your special program is listed at the beginning of the default Special Programs table. Check the appropriate special program for the student. From the toolbar at the top, click Save. Click the red X box to close the student record. The new special program record is now included in the list of records for the student. Click the red X box to close the student demographics record. To report the number of tests administered per special program, use the Test Administrations report. From the menu bar at the top, click Reports, CASAS e-Tests, and select Test Administrations to open the report generator. From the Report General Settings page, enter a name for your report. From the Report Setup Navigator at the left, click In Program Years to filter the population for your report. Click the filter icon in the Special Programs column. Your special programs will be listed at the bottom of this drop-down menu. Click the special program for your report. Click OK, and from the toolbar at the top, click Generate. The report viewer will display tests administered each month to students in the special program for the current program year. To see tests administered in any month, left mouse click to drill down and view the list of students and their tests for that month. You can also use the test administration's report to print or export the list of students together with all of their test results by drilling down on the total number of tests. Click Export to output the list to a spreadsheet. Click Print to set up a custom report.
So I hope that was helpful to everyone. And this will be on the CASAS website. The entire recording will be, as well as so we pull apart some of the pieces too, so you can just listen to those as needed. So in the few remaining minutes, I want to go over some CASAS news and remind you of a few things. One is that if you've done the implementation training online or any training online on our CASAS website, you can get a copy of your certificate by going back to training.casas.org and following these steps. Please, you can take a look at this PowerPoint later and refresh your memory about how to do that. And if not, you can always call us, but we hope that maybe you can find out how to do it yourself. And if you completed your training in the last program year, unfortunately, you cannot generate it yourself, but we do have something now called CASAS Training History, where you'll be able to go and see trainings that you completed before the current program year, and that's a way that you can document that if you're asked to do so. We do offer some live facilitated trainings. That's another way to complete the implementation trainings if you prefer that mode rather than a self-paced online training. And in the What's New section on the homepage of our website, you can just click Live Facilitated Training Registration. And coming up, we do have a few things. In October, we have a Module 4 that's going to be live facilitated, and we have a TOPSpro Enterprise Basics that is on the 22nd of October. So please sign up for those if you're interested. And then in November and December, we'll leave you to do the self-study modules and the online. And if you have questions about how to access that, of course, you can contact us. We have something new that is national level TOPSpro Enterprise Network meetings. And this is to talk about any questions you might have about NRS guidelines, anything new or sort of techniques and tricks that we think would be helpful to you, such as the TE proxy wizard or the special programs we talked about today, or anything about test results and reports. It's an opportunity to confer with other staff from other programs around the country who are using CASAS and using TOPSpro Enterprise. And that's a way to network and share best practices. Whatever you would like to talk about becomes the agenda for this session. The next one is going to be on November 12th from 9 to 10:30 Pacific. So we hope you'll join us, and you can find out how to connect to that on the CASAS website. And this was mentioned earlier when so many of you said you don't know how to learn about special programs. Well, we do have this new place on the CASAS website, and the link to that is at the bottom of this slide, where we list all of the available how-to documents. And you can just enter, for example, special programs, and you would come to the PDF about it as an example. So please take a look there, and hopefully next time we ask the question, you'll be able to say, yes, I know how to find help on the CASAS website. So we do have office hours coming up. They're not every Friday, but certain Fridays at 11 Pacific, 2 Eastern. That's where you can ask any question. Please join us there if you'd like. Our next national webinar is the 17th of November. So please register for that, and we'll be covering topics that we try to make of interest to everybody that's using CASAS around the country. Here are some emails that will get to you to specific departments at CASAS. So thank you so much for attending today. And we hope that you will be able to join us next time. Again, everything is recorded on the CASAS website, so you can join us there. And here is the CASAS website. I just wanted to show you quickly that someone was asking about the catalog. So here is the home page. Here on the left, we can see it. You can just click there to get the CASAS catalog, or also up at the top right, you can click the order button. All of those will get you there, and that's how you can order materials. So this will formally end the session today. And if anyone has any additional questions, you can enter them in the Q&A. We'll stay on a little while to answer them. We hope that this was helpful to you and look forward to seeing you again next month.